don't love me no more. You don't love me no more, no more. I don't love you no more. You don't love me no more, no more. All them on that shit, all them on that lie. Even when they come cry, that's a freaking lie. She tired of the same thing. Tired of them and the same thing. Right no more, baby.
Yeah, once again, it's your friend Sizwe, and I want to welcome you to What They Do. What They Do. What They Do. What They Do.
Curry chicken.
What they do.
You heard that?
You know what they do. What they do is a place where we say what they do in Miami. Some Miami slang, meaning what's up, what's popping. And in Miami, we say what they do. I got another special guest in the building today. He goes by the name Moto. Moto there, 758. Hey, yo, Moto.
Moto there.
What they do?
See, is what we saying, dog.
Yo, I'm here on Soca Fête.
Tu bagay bien.
Tu bagay bien. You know, I got a little Creole in me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You hung out with me a little bit more.
Yeah, I get some more.
You'll sing it.
Clear.
Yes, I.
You know what I'm saying? How you been, man?
I've been good. Just chilling, preparing for St Lucia carnival, enjoying the Sunshine State. Freshly moved from New York. Not freshly, but, 3 years, in the Sunshine States. And I'm just enjoying the life, man. The life that's given to us by the GOD.
Yeah, well, the Sunshine State is a little different than the Big Apple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got nice weather year round. And even in the winter, the weather is nice. You know what I'm saying? Might get a little 40, 50 degrees. And, Floridians like me, that's weather for big jacket, scarf, and bonnet,
Really? Yeah, I realize some of you guys dress differently out here.
Yeah. We can't handle that cold thing, So I'm glad that you've come with nothing but heat because, you done no Moto day. Moto, I feel like if a man get a feature, a rhythm from Moto, it gone. It's a movie. It bust. That's true.
Well, we have the formula. I just posted yesterday that it's been 15 years that I've been producing under Team Fox.
Wow.
And Fox Productions. That's what I started with, Fox Productions. So 15 years in the soca game, officially.
That's 15 years producing and
singing
or
yes.
just or separate?
Singing.
I know
both.
you was producing first and then.
Yes. So everything overall, it's 15 years I've been in the music industry, Caribbean music industry.
Yeah, that's crazy. I understand that Lucian Kuduro comes from Africa.
Yeah.
Right? Are you partly responsible for the Lucian vibe in today's modern era soca? Like, because I don't remember, before you come on the scene, I don't remember being like hit with the Kuduro vibes, the Lucian vibes,
I would say I was a big part of the influence. I was one of the pioneers of Dennery Segment, that we call it. Like you said, it started with Kuduro from Africa, infiltrating the St Lucian market, the soca market in St Lucia locally. The beats from Angola, Cape Verde and all these West African countries,
right.
That sound just infiltrated the island. And eventually it became, just stapled. And Lucian artists started replicating these beats. Lucian producers started replicating these beats. And we tried to find an actual name for it or something that says St. Lucia.
Yeah.
And that's when the whole branding of Dennery Segment started. In or around 2009 or so.
And Denry, that's a place.
Denry is a place in St. Lucia,
Yeah.
It's like a parish.
Okay, it's a parish. And so Denry Segment comes purely out of that.
So it was heavily, all the artists, most of the younger artists was from Denry. So that's why, if you went St. Lucia, around that time of 2009, 10, 11, 12, a lot of people would be like, just play Denry music or play Denry Segment or play Denry this, Denry that. So that's why it became such a staple name for it, because most of the artist was based in Denry as
Denry.
a parish. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. You know, I was looking at some things, and I'm wondering if it has this African roots. Is it borrowed or did it directly come from? Right,
Well,
because there's a thing right now with soca and where soca is from. I don't know if you saw the last episode,
yeah.
and it kind of stirred up some controversy where people kind of saying like it doesn't matter where the soca thing comes from, right? But I find that if that Denry specifically comes straight out of
straight out
Angola.
of Angola and Africa. Yes, I
Wow.
would say that. And if not, let it could be an argument too. Is that most, if not all, genres originated from Africa?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the instruments that we hear in instrumentals and beats right now, most of these instruments are from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I would say most of all the genres that we are familiar with in today's world, modern world, originated from Africa.
Yeah, of course. But I think Dennery Segment is special in a sense that it could point directly to our music, right? And I don't know if soca or any other genre of music can point directly to a specific type of music out of Africa. And I think that's what maybe makes it
I can agree.
special.
I can agree.
You know
I
what
can
I mean?
agree. It has its various elements compared to what we'd be familiar with Trinidad soca or various other genres. It has a very signature sound to it. And you know, when you hear St Lucian Dennery Segment, you'll know specifically that's a Dennery Segment influence beat.
Sound.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
sound.
Mad. I think like that thing is so special, and I can't wait for the Sizwe Moto I don't know, compilation. You know, I know that's coming soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
You're not excited about that. You didn't sound. Yeah, like,
I mean, we both here in Florida, Broward, you know, so we could do easy link up.
Yeah, easy link up. Moto, you know, I know that you do the production, you do the writing, you also mix and master, but I also know that you have Moto Motors.
Yeah.
Right? And you're building a club
down in
St.
St.
Lucia. What is that a transition or is it just a natural development of where Moto is?
Just natural development of diversifying, you know, my portfolio. Like you said, most people know Moto does production. He started with production first, then he attempted singing. I became successful at it. I knew what I was going for, where I was going for. You know, became a household name in the soca industry. And it's just another way as a businessman or having a business mindset is, you know, they always teach you to diversify your portfolio. And that's exactly what I'm doing with, you know, Moto is just selling cars and classic cars.
I see you pull up in a big car today, right?
Yeah, something that I love to do, especially like the older Mustangs, the older American cars. It's something that I enjoy, you know, just getting them, fixing them up, spraying them, mechanic stuff, and modifying them to make it look pretty and look it nice and sexy and sell them at a profit. The club, again, I'm in the entertainment industry, you know, so a lot of people, you know, that club, it's called Club Maryland. It's coming in Rodney Bay, St. Lucia. That's people, you know, the actual person who's running it, he approached me to do the marketing for them, marketing director, you know, marketing manager, because they know that I have the certain connects, the certain influence and pull, you know. So they approached me and I was like, yeah, we could open the club together. Yeah. You know, so we're gonna, you know, just change the nightlife in St. Lucia and just diversify the portfolio, man. That's it. And just keep on growing and keep on progressing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important, and it shows the younger artists that there's more to do, right? Outside of singing your songs, but as you grow, to diversify, as you say, and build yourself and build some wealth too, right? Because I think sometimes we can't solely depend on the soca to fill.
I mean, we all know as artists that it doesn't last forever, you know, and the diversity in the portfolio might help you, you know. It will help you, because at the end of the day, like I said, your music career won't be a hot pot for forever. You know, everybody has their time. At that time, you just have to do what you have to do. Do the best you can to you know, improve yourself and position yourself to be successful in the future.
Yes, and it's best to start early so that you're not behind the gun when that time comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
How do you find soca where soca is today? Right? Like how is soca in a good space? You know, people, I've had many artists on. I had Classic on, I had The Father, I had a few people. And I feel like there is this push to get soca to become a genre within the social platforms, or the not social platforms, but the Spotify, the iTunes, and these media platforms. Is soca where it needs to be? Or is there something that we need to do as artists, as promoters, as the consumer?
Yeah. This has been a conversation for years. You know, this is not the first time it's coming up and becoming a main issue. I do believe that we are in a good space for soca right now. What I believe our problem was, and our problem is still, we do have a circuit in the Caribbean music industry where we release music just for a time, you know, a specific moments, and which is carnival. That could, you know, you could look at Trinidad, you could look at St Lucia, Barbados, Grenada. All of us release music for a specific time. So by the time we do one song for carnival, we have a hit. The next year, the audience is expecting another hit. You know, they don't allow that song or that hit to grow and pass the borders and maybe infiltrate America, infiltrate European countries. So that circuit, I believe, stifles the genre a little bit. It's something that we have to change in the near future, especially the consumers, the people who love soca, the people who stream soca. You know, it's just supporting the artists right throughout the year. And even when the year is done, support them even more, you know, and keep on growing hits. And at the end of the day, we never know what a hit song is.
Yeah.
We could never say for sure, okay, this is going to hit. But it's the consumers and the lovers of soca that will push this genre that we call soca to the next level. You know, but I do believe we are in a very good space. I do believe we are missing branding of soca music. Being that so much of the Caribbean islands have, like you mentioned earlier, different type of soca, it becomes an argument of what soca genre or subgenre of soca we want to make the big thing.
Yeah.
You know, so the islands tend to fight a lot internally on that rather than looking at the big picture and pushing SOCA,
That's right.
soca, as a global genre, so that people could recognize that one brand.
Right.
And under that one brand, everything else will come. You know, the Denry Segment, the Bashment Soca, the Jab Soca. So we are missing that part of marketing and branding. And of course, under marketing also falls funds. You know, a lot of the artists and producers and various other people doesn't have marketing funds comparing it to American labels and you know,
Popular music.
the Jay-Z's and
Yeah.
you know, them stuff.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. The money talks.
Yeah.
You know, so if Moto come and Moto have a deal with Jay-Z and Jay-Z put, let's say, $500 million behind Moto, you know, you will know Moto for sure. You know, but I find that, you know, we are not investing enough in soca music to bring it to that level. You know, or maybe we just don't have these companies and these labels that have the funds and the power to just push that on a level to, you know, let's say Tomorrowland, EDC, and, you know, all these big festivals that's over here in America, so that brand of soca is there and people seeing it and they knowing exactly this is soca and this come from the Caribbean.
Yeah, I like what you said, and I try to preach that same thing, and I think that one thing that I think you're 100% on is this idea that there are these small pockets of sub soca genres, and we fighting for that position globally, right? As opposed to fighting for one soca. You know, when Cindy was here, we were talking about being in Trinidad and having the mindset that you're gonna get Trinidad soca primarily, and if you go St Lucia, you should primarily hear Lucian soca. But my pushback was, does that affect the global standing of soca? And should we just be pushing soca music and whatever the best soca record is, no matter where it's from, shouldn't that be what is positioned in front of the consumer?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people, the market that we are trying to reach, which is obviously American or European, they would not know what the subgenres are.
Right.
You know, they might not even know what the soca is. They just say Caribbean music. I like Caribbean music. I love Caribbean. Play Caribbean music. You know, so you are right. They're missing there's a branding issue with soca, with the little internal fighting with each other and the small islands on which one that we should get through and which one is better. You know, I think all of them are great. Yeah. All of them have their own standing firm. And if we look at songs that has crossed the borders, like the Rupee, you know, nobody will say, oh, that's Bajan soca, you know. They'll say that's just soca.
Yeah,
you know, that's Caribbean music. Yeah. And you know, I have to say kudos to Rupee and all of them doing that. And
Kevin Little.
You know, Kevin Little pushing the Caribbean music forward. And all these fellas, when I researched it, they had big labels behind them. You know, they had major labels behind them marketing that. So that's where the marketing falls under. You know, what I mentioned earlier is that these labels was putting a lot of money behind the songs because they believed in it. Another label I respect too is VP Records from Jamaica. You know, VP pushed a lot of the classic reggae songs that we know right now and we grew up on, and they had money behind them, promoting them, you know, on the American markets, and eventually just becoming classic hits. You know, so that's the formula that we need for soca, is people to put money behind it and put it on a position to be successful, and for people that doesn't know about it to know about it.
You know, I wanted to talk to you about that, about this money thing, because I think people don't really know, like Spotify is, I think, 0.005 cents
per
stream, right? And the amount of streams you need to get $2,000, it's a crazy number, right? And I feel like we in the Caribbean don't consume the product in a way where we willing to pay, right? And I think that's part of the problem. So where does the artist get this money for promotion, right? Like the average artist, right? The Bungees, the big artists, the Marshalls, the Cass, you know, they're getting some money, I believe, right? But where does the up and coming or the artist who's making a name for themselves get this money to push it further?
Yeah, so I agree. You know, numbers is something that labels look at. You know, the bigger your number, the better deal you might get, the more money you might get. So that problem again falls on the consumer, and that falls again on the people who listen to soca, and you know, just like being more understandable about how streaming works and how streaming platforms work. You know, Caribbean people tend to like freeness. You know, they like just to listen to a song on YouTube if it's free and they don't have to pay.
Yeah,
you know, they rather do that compared to going on Apple Music and subscribe and do this. So that's a problem that we have to fix, you know, consumer wise. You know, if we were able to consume soca music or hits much more, the advantage that will bring to the artists, to the producers, would be something that is that will help them.
Yeah,
you know, just to market themselves on the next level.
Of course, because I mean, other than that, I think it's extremely difficult for artists to put themselves forward. I mean, we have the social media, but even that, you have to put some money behind pushing the song and getting the views to where it becomes maybe a global success. Or Jesus Christ, it gone? All right, good. A global success, or something that, you know, takes over the TikToks and the thing. Let me ask you, I've you know, I'm in the business 20-some years, right? And I've heard many artists, to include myself, say the DJs ain't playing their record, right? Or they playing the same stuff over and over. Is that a real complaint, or are the artists really not doing the correct amount of work?
correct amount of work. I would say first of all we have to give kudos and appreciation to the DJs, because at the end of the day the DJ is the one who is marketing that song or wherever song it is, you know. So I'd lean on the DJs for the matter of fact that they are pushing what they feel like is a hit, you know, because you have to put yourself in the position of a DJ, you know. You will play what people want to hear. You know, you will play what you consider a hit song. So it then falls on the artist to just develop a hit song. Make whatever craft that you drop in, make it something that is worth saying, boy, you know what? I'm going to play that tonight. You know, I'm going to play that today. And the DJ is the one who's responsible for that. So there are certain places that I go, yes, that, you know, you typically, if you're familiar with a DJ, you'll be like, man, he plays the same thing. You know his set, you know his that. But I'm guessing that he is, at the end of the day, he's doing what he have to do because he get hired to play this event. Yeah. You know, so he'll play what people will respond to. Yeah. You know, to get that crowd reaction. And yeah, so it falls back on the artist to develop a craft that, you know, is very welcoming to the audience, you know. Even if it's new, you know, when you'll know a hit song when you hear a hit song. So you
think it's more of the artist not putting forward the product for the DJ to play it?
Could be that. You know, and then there are DJs that are certainly you know, iffy about playing hits, new songs. There are DJs like that, you know, until it becomes a hit, that DJ will not play it. So there are that problem in the Caribbean where, you know, they wait for the hit, for it to become a hit to play it. You know, so I do have to say kudos to the DJs that don't care about if it's not a hit yet, but you believe in that record and you push that record even though it's not a hit.
For sure.
You know, so DJs like that, you have to put respect and congratulations on their stuff.
Is it time to throw away the Soca Mafia talk? Is it time to throw that away? And because it feels like it comes up every day, every week. That Soca Mafia talk, and the people who are saying it's not a Soca Mafia are often described as a Soca Mafia, and the people who say there is a Soca Mafia are saying, you see, right. So, but is it time to be like, man, just put forward some good music and do your best? And
that's what I would lean on. I would say that, I mean, if there is a Soca Mafia, I would say that there are niches of people that pushes their certain artists, especially a set of DJs that pushes these certain artists because they have a better relationship with them, you know, compared to another artist, you know. So at the end of the day, what I have to say about that is nobody can really stop a hit song. You know, if a song is a hit, no matter how much you try to stop it, you don't want to play it on radio, you don't want to play it on this, you don't want to play it on your set. Yeah. If the people call for that to be a hit, it will be a hit and you'll be forced to play it. You know, so that's where I lean on, is making a song a hit where, you know, I don't have to force the DJ to play the song. You know, the DJ will play the song at his point of time when he feels like he wants to play it because the demand is there. So whenever you create the demand, like you say, social media is there for free. You know, TikTok especially, Instagram and stuff like that. It's for free for the artists to whatever new song that they're gonna try to promote and make it a hit. That's these things are there to utilize. You know, and at the end, nobody can stop it. Yeah. Nobody, mafia, label, nobody will never be able to stop a hit if it's an actual hit. You know, you put it in front of the consumer, and the consumer is the one who make it a hit. Decision. Yeah, and they make the decision.
Yeah, you know, I really respect those answers. You know, I used to fall in this thing about, I mean, playing my song and, you know, but I think that perspective sometimes, there are some times when they're not playing the song, right? When there's an opportunity to play the record and they ain't playing it. But I think for the most part, the onus is on me, the artist, right, to make a record that is undeniable. Yeah. And if I can't make a record that is undeniable, then I need to go back on the drawing board.
In the studio. Yeah, you need to go back in the studio. And yeah, I understand where you're coming from. And yeah, it falls back on like just a product that is sellable. You know? That's a product that is sellable. You know, you ever watch these back in the days when these infomercials was coming on a product you never see or you never heard of, and you see the commercial coming for 30 seconds and you're like, okay, I think I want one.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You know?
buy that. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and all that is marketing. That
Yeah,
they put
yeah.
money behind that. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so believe in your product and,
Believe in your product, market the product.
believe in your product, market your product, and that's it.
Yeah.
Whenever the marketing is good and the consumers see it and they like it
Yeah.
and they gravitate to it, that's it. That is history right there.
Man, how much hits you have, Moto?
A lot.
You have plenty.
Yeah, a lot of hits. Yeah.
Yeah, now this episode is brought to you by One Caribbean Apparel. You know what I'm saying? Thank God for Caribbean woman, right? How we looking? Hey yo, One Caribbean Apparel. Make sure and check them out, right? Information is down in the description. Yo, so Moto, you've worked with, I have a list here, right? Problem Child, Twice, Mr. Lex, CJ, Charles Marshall, Lyrical, Skinny Fabulous, Marshall Montano, Cautions, Raymond, Farman Api, Freezy, Black Boy, Olan Tunji. What artist is out there that is not on this list? And now this is just some, right? 'Cause there are several others. But what artist that's not on this list? On the list of artists that you've worked with that you just need to have in your catalog?
Well, all these artists that you mentioned are St Lucia, Trinidadian. You know, I've probably worked with most of the soca artists already throughout the Caribbean. There are a few Jamaican artists that I have not, worked with. From the likes of Ding Dong, Shensia, Binny Man, and all the major ones that you know from Jamaica. That's a few ones I want to work with because I do dance hall beats. But other than that, I want to grow as a producer as well. I would really love a record with, Drake, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, all these Caribbean background artists, and just bring something. It don't have to be really soca, but just having something with them would be a plus for my musical production career. And eventually I'm working my way up to be there and getting certain links with them to create some special.
I think it says a lot about you because I didn't expect that type of jump, right? Like I really expected you to say this soca artist or that artist, and you went straight to the top. And I think that ambition is probably what was able to get you where you are today.
Correct is right.
Right?
Yes.
And where you will be in the future.
Yes.
I know that you normally do your own production, your own writing, right? But in 2021, I think it's 2021, you did a record with Spider, DJ Spider. Was that your first time voicing on
a Spider rhythm? Yes, probably.
On a production that wasn't yours?
No.
Okay.
Because I would say my first song that burst me out there, Bend Down, My Girl, Bend Down, in 2010. That was not my rhythm. That was produced by Satish Mafre, which is St Lucian, and released by Jamming Records. So that was my very first time actually, recording on something that's not produced and made by me. Yeah. So. Okay,
man. I thought that that was one of maybe the first time. Is it hard to work with producers that, because you're so accustomed to doing your own thing? Is it difficult when somebody send you a rhythm and you're like, does it fit? Does it not fit?
Yeah, I mean, I have that little thing that, you just have to fit my style, my vibe, my liking. Whenever the rhythm fits my liking and it talks to me the first time I play it, it's very easy for me to develop a song on it because I have a vibe where when I'm in the studio, it's not really me in the studio. It's just the music just telling me what to sing on that composition, Yeah. So it's very easy for me to develop something on somebody's rhythm. It just have to have my flavor and it has to just sound like a hit song. I could tell what a hit rhythm is when I hear it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's 2020. I think 2020, somewhere around there. You and I both won a Soca Awards, right? I won for Best Artist in Florida, I think, and you won for Best Artist in the World, something like that, right? But what stood out to me was in your speech, you said if I could remember correctly, you said that you was never trained in production, right? You said, I just make music based off of how it makes me feel, and what comes out is what comes out, right? And I thought that was special too, in a sense where like you have no training, you don't know no chords, you just know vibes.
Yeah. So in the studio, like I say, just me and music. I have never gone to a music class. I've never gone to a production class. I've never gone to a writing class. And in the studio, just me and music and vibes in and letting the music flow within me.
Yeah.
Within these frequencies that I have. And I think it's a God-given gift to be able to do that. I don't write none of my songs. All the songs come in, just through hearing the beats and various experiences that I may have, life experiences I sing about. I typically tend to sing about, very dramatic things, like I don't want no one woman, she like man with ride. And, basically that's things that I feel like is just relatable to the people, my audience.
Yeah, but where them thing come from? She like man with ride. Where does that, like, that creativity, because they're all like, they're all real.
Yeah. All of them is basically things that's happening in the real world, and that big ride talk and saying is basically a Lucian thing. A lot of people just be like, certain girl will like man with ride because what she doing for man with no ride? How she getting to certain places? How she getting pick up from work and how she getting there and how she doing that? She like a man with ride. So I'm able to I'm blessed enough and gifted enough to be able to create songs of things that matters and things that's actually real life situations.
Yeah, and resonate with
it
the
resonates.
audience.
So when I release it, it resonates with the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my fans.
Moto, I also know you're not just an artist, because I'm not just an owner, business owner, times two, but you also have a master's degree. Is that right?
Bachelor's degree.
Bachelor's degree in what?
In mass communications, video production.
So you're bright.
Yeah,
Real bright.
Very. Yeah. So even before the music, I was chasing my education. So music was not the first stop for me. It was not the thing that I said, boy, this is what I want to do for my life. When I was young, like I say, I never had no inspiration, no sort of people pushing me towards music because I had that talent. It was just, happened randomly that I happened to download FL Studios and learn to do beats. But prior to this, I was chasing my education because coming from St Lucia, migrating from St Lucia in 2009, the best thing that you could do is chase your
dreams.
Your dreams, in becoming something successful in America. So that was my goal. I wanted to make my grandparents proud. I left my grandparents. I was raised by my grandparents. I left St Lucia in 2009, around 14 years old, and right now I'm 30 or 31. I can't remember.
Something.
And so far, they have been very proud. I'll be able to do a lot of things for them. As far as rest in peace to my grandma, which passed away couple of years ago, but my granddad is still there, was able to build a new house for him and, take care of his, certain things, bills, health, everything.
All with Soca.
Yeah, all with the, what I've invested in.
Okay.
My music and my career and everything and what I've molded to become what you call Moto and what you call Team Fox.
Moto, coming from St Lucia and being raised by your grandparents and then coming to the US, right? What is it like coming from where you come from to then performing on a stage with Marshall Montano, Marshall Monday, a couple times, right? And to thousands of people, and they're screaming Moto and screaming your song. Like, what is that feeling like?
Euphoric. I typically tend to not think about it like it's major, and I don't want to think about it like it's major so I could get swell-headed.
Yeah, but it's major though.
Yeah, it's major, but I never feel like I am I never feel like I'm accomplished, even though I accomplished the biggest thing ever that there is. You know, I always feel like I want more, and there's always something more than that that I accomplished. So I think that mindset that I have, it came from my grandparents and just being humble, just being a humble individual and learning, understanding, and growing. So I never really say, boy, Moto, you did it. You made it. You made it. I never have that you made it feeling. And, you know, I think it's a good trait to have because it will keep on pushing you to do your best and go for more and not be comfortable.
Okay, fine. I could take that, right? I could take that outlook. But the great majority of soca artists, I think, do not get to be on them type of stage.
Yes.
They'll go their whole career
I could agree
and
on
not
that.
get there. I think that you got to celebrate that. Even, I'm not saying that you don't celebrate it, but I want to celebrate it here with you because I think what an achievement, you know.
And you have to say it was in a short period of time too.
Very short.
Yeah, very short period of time.
Like you flatten the place in a very short time
period of
period.
time, yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
And that falls under, like I mentioned earlier, is bringing a product to the place that it was so unique. It was unique enough so that people could say, what is this? And I like it. And whenever they like it and you have them, let's say by their throats, you have them right there, you just keep on being consistent with the product.
Yeah.
You know, and eventually you become a household name.
Yeah.
So I was very good, thanks God and praise Jah, that I was very good in marketing, you know, and I was able to bring a product forth and multiple products forth, you know, from rhythm albums to singles to the type of songs, the type of videos, the energy I bring when I perform. It was just a whole niche of products I was bringing.
Yeah.
It was a whole brand that I brought, and people never seen it before. And when they saw it, they end up loving it. They end up just being in love with Moto because Moto is just so different and so unique and so hype and so, you know, they just end up liking and just supporting Moto.
Why the ladies love Moto so bad?
The dancing, you know, the dancing and the whining and certain things that I sing about.
Yeah.
Bend down, my girl, bend down. Pick your position. You know, bend for the bang. You know, I sing songs for the ladies, so it's very easy for them to gravitate to me if I giving them what they want. You understand what I'm saying? She Like Man with Ride, Big Ride, Shots for the Road. All them stuff is things that just relatable. I basically connected with the ground, the roots, what people want to hear, you know, in a song. And when they celebrating, when they having a birthday, when they having a lime, I sing about every single topic that, you know, it's a very broad thing that I bring, you know, lyrically, that people is able to relate. And when you relate to people, they will like you. They will like you. They will love you.
Yeah. Now you're killing it. What I wanted to ask you is there a place in the world that you've been, right, that you just love to perform? Like they love you and you love them. Like for me is Boston. Like I love to go Boston, right? I just feel like the energy in Boston and the love that I have received in Boston is just amazing. Is there a place like that for you?
I have a very big following in Toronto.
Okay.
I would think that
in the 6.
Yeah, in the 6. Big up the 6. I would think that my biggest following is in Toronto, and you know, especially if I do perform and when I perform, the crowd receives me a lot. You know, and I'm talking about all the songs, not just one song. If they know just one song, if they know that song, they know all the songs. And performing events like SOS Festival, which is one of the biggest soca festivals in Toronto, that proves me right. You know, like people just love just my energy, my vibe, what I bring to the stage. Yeah. So Toronto will be that place for me.
Toronto's the spot. DJ or live band?
All depends on the crowd. Yeah, I would say it depends on the crowd, because certain crowd like DJ, certain crowds like band. A place like Trinidad, I would lean towards a live band more than live tracks. A place like Toronto, I would lean towards just live tracks, because it's a much more of a younger crowd, much more of a crowd that wants the actual song that you the hit songs that they know, the sound that they know, and not something that's live and then they kind of get lost in it. So all depends on the place and time and place, basically.
The list of artists that I shared with you, or that you shared with us, that you've worked with, right? Out of that list, is there one session, a recording session, or is there one record that was absolutely remarkable and stood out to be like one of the best that you've done?
I like the session I did with Marshall Montano, and that was probably the only session I did with an artist face to face. Okay. As far as like me and him being in the studio together. The energy was
that
unreal.
Was the one with the bouillon.
It's called Is a Vibe.
Is a Vibe, yeah.
Yeah, From We Touch Down, Is a Vibe, Is a Vibe. Written by myself. So that one was, that was the only real session that I had with an artist in the studio. Other than that, most of my collaborations is artists just sending their vocals in. I create the demo. I send the demo to them, and then they send me back the vocals, and it becomes a one product, and that product is a hit.
So most of those songs you've written?
Most of the collaborations, hit songs that from Moto, was done like that, in that procedure.
Man, you wrote it, send the demo, they recorded it, and wow.
Send it back.
So I'm waiting for you to send me a song. I'm waiting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My studio's upstairs, like small thing, I could go by Kevin Little up the road, whatever it is you want.
yeah, I agree.
Moto, what is the key? What is the key you think to success in this world of music, in the genre itself, beyond having a marketing budget? Is it maybe keeping yourself fresh, keeping yourself new? Like what is it that the artists who you see coming up, who you see maybe not able to move past a certain mark, is missing?
Yeah. You have to be able to revolutionize yourself. When I say revolutionize, you have to move with time. We could see that if we look at the career of Marshall Montano, which is undeniable, and the king of soca, from the age of 6-7 years old, he's been doing his thing, and
too young to soca.
Too young for soca, and he was able to just move with time, and welcome all and every new genre that's happening. Could it be from bouillon music from Dominica? Could it be from Dennery Segment from St Lucia? Could it be from USVI? Could it be from Jab Jab in Grenada? He was able to move with time, and he does productions, or he does songs on all these new upcoming genres. And one thing I like about him too, that he doesn't discriminate on younger artists. He always looks for that hot new thing that's happening, or that hot new artist, and he collaborates with them. And that's just a marketing vibe, a marketing tactic that works, as a older artist, older and legendary artist. It's very important to be in touch with the younger generation, or the new upcoming generation. At the end of the day, that's the ones that will be streaming. That's the one that will be supporting you to keep you relevant. So I have to say kudos to him. So my answer to your question was revolutionize yourself and move with time. And never be comfortable. Never say, okay, I'm a legend, I'm going to stop there. Just keep on moving, keep on doing it until you just can't sing no more.
Yeah, but that's to the guy who's a legend today, right? We're talking about the artist who hasn't quite made it to a place. Like what are some things that they can do to get them beyond that point?
The answer to your question is product placement, and we touched a little bit on it earlier. Creating a product that is able to sell to the people. If you don't have a product that can't sell to the people, then you're in problems. If you can't create a product that's very easily sellable to the audience, you're gonna be in problems. So as an artist, you have to go back in the studio, go back to your drawing board if you're not able to develop a product that's easily sellable. Whenever you have a sellable product, you're good to go. And if you keep the consistency up, you will be very well on your way to be successful as a new successful artist.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Are you on top of the business side too?
Yes.
Yeah. What are some key things that you think artists need to be on top of business wise, beyond maybe their contract with a performance, but the music business or the business of music?
Yeah, business of music. Number one would be your manager. A great manager is a important thing to have. Some people that you meet will either make or break you. We have seen this throughout the careers of many artists that we know, that they have a lot of talent. However, they don't have the manager that will position their music in the right place and the right time to succeed. Other than that, it's so much things. Other than that, we have learning music rights, your copyrights, your intellectual property rights. You have to understand that business too, because you could get a big hit song and you did not understand the copyrights and what rights that you should hold and how much percentage you should hold in that song, and you sell that rhythm for an artist for $400, but then it becomes a hit song, and now you never get royalties from that because you sold it and you didn't understand, and the only reason because you didn't understand copyrights. So publishing, selling songs and syncing songs. So all this stuff is important things that a new artist I would recommend to dive into, and it's very easy to understand. It's not something that's difficult and you need to go to school. There's such books. YouTube is there for us to just look at a video for 5 minutes and understand how master copyrights work, publishing works, and how 360 deals work and how labels work, and various things. There's resources out there that artists have for free. It's not something that is hard to get in touch with.
You just need to do the work.
So yeah, copyrights and management, two main important things, and of course, like I say, product.
Dennery Segment and St Lucia Carnival is around the corner. How much songs are we expecting from Moto?
Yeah, so I'm like, I would say what I would call the return of Dennery Segment this year.
Okay.
I undoubtedly realized that they were a little deep in the popularity of the genre, and it's something typical that happens, right? A new genre comes, it's popular for now, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then it dips, and then a next one comes in. It's new, it's fresh, it's more lively. That's music. Music
like the booyah right now is super popular.
Yeah, music forever revolutionizes, and I like the fact that every island having a little focus on them for a moment of time, and that really helps on the marketing of the island as well. So, like I say, I want to do this year the return of Denry Segment, meaning we are gonna release multiple productions of Denry Segments, and hopefully, in the grace of Jah, that they are hit songs and Denry Segment really comes back to what it was like, 4 or 5 years ago, when, we had the Split in the Middle, Freezy, we had the Subbans, Bad in Bum Bum, and we had all these Lucian songs that we, made Denry Segment a genre and something to focus on. So that's what I want to do this year, working with new artists as well from St Lucia, and just giving them the opportunity to prove themselves and prove their talent.
Okay.
So we are gonna release multiple rhythm albums, and I probably say Moto and Team Fox is probably the ones really holding soca down in a manner that we release multiple albums throughout most of the Caribbean carnivals. For Trinidad Carnival, I dropped maybe 3 or 4 albums featuring, myself, Olatunji, Dev, Jaiga, and prior to that, Marshall Montano, Skinny Fabulous. So, and after that, I focus on St Lucia. I work with Ezra, Subbans, Black Boy, all these Lucian artists. Then I go down to Grenada. I work with Lil Nati and Thunder, people like that, you know. So I try to focus on each and every carnival and give them a production that, you know, is relatable to them,
Yeah, can
you know,
stand
to
up.
the and stand up to the carnival. So I feel like I'm one of the only kind of producers that do that. No, I don't really see no other producers that. There's Trinidad producers that really focus just on Trinidad Carnival. After that, they're done until next year. I don't do that. I focus on multiple islands, you know, Barbados, St Lucia, Grenada, St Vincent, you know. Could be for Miami as well. Could be for Toronto Carnival. I release songs mainly for this stuff. So I work right through 365 days in the year. I work. You know?
So speaking of seeing how we talking about these new songs, we got a segment at What They Do, right, called Bring the Headphones. I'm hoping that I could bring you the headphones and maybe deliver a little small performance for the audience.
Not a problem.
No problem. Bring the headphones. Bring the headphones.
Team 4. You don't love me no more. You don't love me no more, no more. I don't love you no more. You don't love me no more, no more. All them on that shit, all them on that lie. Even when they come cry, that's a freaking lie. She tired of the same thing. Tired of them and the same thing. Cry no more, baby. I want you cry no more.
Baby, I want you.
Cry no more, baby. I want you cry no more.
Yo,
Shelly, tell them.
Bouti ouwe mwen epi lot fam.
Blood fam,
Alors mwen ka di ou sa pa person.
person.
Mwen deja di mwen say oh yes man. But you say them man that's lie, that's freaking lie.
You don't love me no more. You don't love me no more, no more. I don't love you no more. You don't love me no more, no more. Cry no more, baby. I want you cry no more. Cry no more, baby. Yeah, I wanna fix all of the things that I do you before. I wanna pick your broken heart, take it off of the floor. Yes, I know what I do, yes, I know it for sure. Dudu mamalamu waka. She wanna cry no more. I love she we make her do. This is Booyah music
from Dominica, St Lucia, Soca. Yeah.
Hey, you don't love me no more. You don't love me no more, no more. I don't love you no more. You don't love me no more, no more. Cry no more, baby. I want you cry no more. Cry no more, baby. Cry no more. Cry no more.
Yeah, boy, Moto, boy, thank you so much. Performance, mad. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming all the way down here in the sticks.
Yeah,
you
man.
Know, I know you saw
I
the
say,
cornfield.
where I going, boy?
Yeah,
What
man.
kind of this man trying to kidnap me or what?
Yeah, you know, but you know, it is what it is, and it's a vibe down here, and I'm just glad that you gave me the opportunity to come onto the podcast and show me some love. You know what I mean?
Yes, man. It's not a problem. What they do,
Yeah.
says we see.
Yeah, man.
Moto there.
Moto there.
We out.
Yeah, once again, you don't know this is What They Do. My name is Sizwe, and tune in next week and never know who's gonna be here. Once again, yeah.